Yeah.
All right, here we are. Welcome to another episode of the Church Bulletin Podcast.
Yeah.
I'm Father Ross.
I'm Tim, the parish support minister.
To my left and on my right.
I'm Father Joe Patrone, and I'm the guy in residence here studying at CUA in Washington, D.C. for the most part, but I get to annoy Father Ross a couple times a year, so this is one of those times.
Yep, and that's why he's here. And if you hear any background noise, it's the kids preparing for their children's liturgy. So not sure how soundproof our studio is.
We're about to find out.
We're about to find out.
Absolutely.
Well, it's Epiphany, gentlemen.
Woo!
So very exciting. If you've seen our bulletin, it should go live on the website.
Who
I think
picked this cover?
I just searched for Epiphany.
I really
this is what
like
I found.
it. It looks really nice.
This is an actual photograph.
Shout out to whoever, the actual person.
Mary posted it on her Instagram.
Absolutely. This was
Very
it.
exciting.
Her Etchtagram.
The fourth wise man took the photo.
That is a great movie, by the way.
Oh yeah.
With I think it's Martin Sheen is in that one.
I don't know.
But
They
anyway,
don't-
it's
they
like an
don't
old
sponsor us either.
'90s movie of the fourth. It's a great movie.
But yeah,
Anyway,
no, this
sorry.
kind of worked out. I was like, this is bulletin cover material. I had to cut out the ox. You can see like
Oh,
just
that's
the horn.
not nice.
Hey.
I know, but 8.5 by 11.
Poor ox.
Well, exciting news on the first page here. We have all kinds of giving information. So
yeah, with all of the bulletin submissions, we had to submit things like 2-3 weeks early. So it's like, well, we can't say what you all gave. So
Yeah, we
there's a ton of info here.
counted all the gold, frankincense, and myrrh, and we're very thankful for everybody who gave around Christmas. Christmas was on Christmas Eve was Sunday night, so it was kind of crazy. But I think I really appreciate that everybody gave both for the Sunday and for Christmas. That was amazing. Sometimes that doesn't
Absolutely.
always happen. So that
A
worked
big
out.
shout out for the
great.
415 Mass. So a year ago, I had just started, so I didn't really know anybody or know kind of who went and who didn't go on a regular basis. I only went to the 415, but Jesse and I were talking about it, that the previous year he had been discouraged because he saw a lot of people come to church for Christmas who he hadn't seen in a while. And what I thought was so cool about this Christmas was 415 anyway was full of people who come to Mass every weekend. So just shout out to
True.
our parishioners. Like, it was just really cool to see, like, it wasn't like a bunch of people that were like, who are you? Like, it was literally our parish and their families. It was packed, standing room only. There were people standing everywhere.
We also made an effort to reverse the usual church rhetoric where you're like shaming people for
Yeah, for
showing
real.
up to Mass. And we're
Yeah.
like, we are so glad you're here.
It was wonderful. But I was just so
So-
impressed with our parishioners. Like, everybody came to church. It was really
They
cool.
did.
Yeah,
And Father
so-
Joe had the 615 and it was full. 1115 was full. All the Masses were really full.
I was surprised how full they were.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
So we're-
Great
So
surprise.
shout out to all of you. Well done. Way to celebrate the Lord.
Christmas
well.
was really awesome. And so it was the week after. We're doing, kind of moving right along through the Christmas season. It feels like it came upon us very quickly and then it's ending very quickly. I don't know if it's just the way the days of the week with Epiphany on the weekend, I guess, sort of thing. It's all of a sudden we're done. So anyway, this bulletin, again, celebrating Epiphany, kind of the fullness of God's revelation. Again, our parish mission statement is revealing Jesus. The Magi coming is part of that revelation of who God is. So it's kind of amazing to see, it starts out being a light to the Gentiles. So it's exciting. I think this weekend really kind of helps summarize our church's mission. So I don't know what else is going on here. We got a few things happening, the usual weekly stuff,
Yep.
pretty busy.
This upcoming, not this weekend for Epiphany, but the following weekend is the weekend the bishop has asked us to pray for the pastoral planning process. So all of our petitions and we'll have some prayers and different things like that will be dedicated to that. So
Yeah,
That's
so that's
coming.
happening. I did put a quick little thank you blurb in here, just everybody. We received so many gifts, mostly chocolate based, with a lot of treats in the office, and we've been eating those slowly. But it's been amazing just to have all those things, and just people sent so many well wishes and cards, and it's just always exciting in the midst of winter for all those gifts. So we really appreciate that as well. I think in the new year, what are we looking for? No more chocolate.
well,
more
Nick
candy.
and I tore into the chocolate covered pretzels. Yesterday's a fun little TikTok. We did a parish support ministry moment.
You
It
can
was fun,
sponsor my
so you can
gym
check that out.
membership or
Yeah,
something.
I know. We're all
or like
we're
a
all-
case of water.
We're all
maybe.
ready for Lent. We're ready for Lent now.
We're so ready.
We got a new page that we're going to try and get into the bulletin more often on
Yeah,
youth,
talk about this,
youth
yeah.
ministry. So we're really excited. Everyone on staff at St. Jude's has been a youth minister at some point in their, I guess,
Were
church
you a youth
career.
minister?
I was not paid for it, but I
There you
helped
go.
out.
We've
Exactly.
all done it is the point. So we're all really excited about what we have coming. We're going to be starting to do a 9th through 12th grade weekly gathering called The Search. And it's basically a Bible study, but also with discussion and journaling. So if you are an introvert and you don't like to share, you can journal. If you're an extrovert and you want to share, you have questions, we can talk. That will be every Sunday, starting on January 14th. Running through February 25th, but it's possible that it will continue on beyond that. That's just the scope of this first program.
The beginning phase,
exactly,
right?
of the search. So, again, 9th through 12th graders, you're all welcome to come hang out with us, walk through this journey of the search. Begins in the youth room, starting at 9 a.m. every Sunday and ending around 10 a.m.-ish, because we have to get upstairs for Mass at 10:30.
So they can go to 7:30 Mass or 10:30
and then
Mass?
come in. We will have food for you at 9, done by 9:30-ish, because, of course, we have to prepare to receive the Eucharist. But if you've already gone at 7:30 or the day before on Saturday, you don't have to worry about
Let's
it.
ask Father Joe that question. Maybe he knows the answer.
He's the canon guy.
Is the hour fast an hour before Mass or an hour before receiving communion?
It's an hour before receiving communion.
Yes. You heard it here first, folks.
I was correct.
That's what we were.
That's what I've been telling people my whole life. So I'm really glad.
More convenient for you. You know what I mean? Like if you're trying to teach your kids like an hour before church, maybe that's easier because how do you?
It helps get ready. It helps get ready for church.
You're like, we have to go to communion at the very end because it's been 58 minutes. Yeah.
Well, that's so now if you ever see Father up on the altar looking at his watch during the consecration, he's trying to drag
Slow
it out.
down until I'm done.
Exactly.
With
my coffee hour.
Or for priests, people don't know this, but for priests, and of course the way I was taught in Baltimore was after your first Mass, you're no longer obligated. You could be walking down the center aisle eating a cheesesteak.
Right.
That's how the priest taught us for your next Mass.
All I'm gonna say, we're gonna move on to the next thing, but all I'm gonna say, if I don't see that before our time together ends, whatever that is, Jesus comes back, I'm gonna be really disappointed. I'm gonna get to have Father Ross.
I had like 5 hot dogs that one day we did.
We did that grill outside, and you were having
maybe
one.
a piece of that chocolate that they left you sitting on the kitchen table.
After first Mass in the morning, it's all free game.
Oh, how did I get here?
Sorry, I just want to point out real quickly today, like, is Montague or Montague, Michigan, is it like in the middle of the lake?
That's listen.
Like, what is going on with this? Our work site will be here in the water.
We're going to be doing a lot of fishing like Jesus did.
Let me say this. I was like, hey, Nick, do you have a flyer? Because he's the lead. Nick Heiss are amazing. He's leading this through Our Lady of Mercy. We're partnering with them for this. If you want to know that information, it says you can contact me or Nick. But I'm going to be kind of leading the St. Jude side of things. But I was like, do you have a flyer? And he was like, yeah. And he sent me a YouTube video. And I was like, that's not a flyer, bro. So I quickly made this, and that was what was on the website. So I was like, all right.
I will say, too, my last parish in Meadville, they did this exact Catholic Heart work camp in Michigan. The kids loved it.
Yes.
They had such a great time, got to meet a lot of friends from all over the United States. And so if you're thinking about it, I would highly recommend it. It's a great time, and the kids also get a lot out of it. So
is it on the lake though? Is that part of this?
It's in Montauk, Michigan. Yeah, you can go to the beach on your day off. Yeah,
Grand Rapids, I think.
Okay, nice. I don't know my Michigan. I know it's like the shape of a hand. Like a mitten.
Yep.
Pennsylvania's your hand this way.
Exactly.
Erie's the thumb.
Erie's the thumb.
So I do know that too.
So there will be a ton more information about this. There are a limited amount of spots. So if a mission trip is something that you're looking for, thank you. A limited number of spots. So if you are interested in doing this summer, we will fundraise. We will make sure that you get there, but you need to register.
And if you know
ASAP.
your English grammar, you get a bonus over that one.
That's why I don't get a bonus.
Sorry.
It's fine.
Sorry. It's like I'm ingrained. It's like my
turning
teacher
the
mode.
page.
Yes, turn the page. All right. So a few things happening here. Pope's intention for January is interesting for the gift of diversity in the church. People keep saying the Pope is ambiguous. I don't know. He just prays for things. You figure it out. Start asking the Holy Spirit for guidance. Stop relying on someone to explain everything to you. Sorry, I'm going on like a little bit of a pet peeve because everybody's all like, the Pope just keeps saying ambiguous things. Read what the Pope says first. Don't read what the New York Times says or the Erie Times or whoever.
Or anybody, yeah.
Just go read the document and then have an intelligent conversation.
Absolutely.
So it's the same with pastoral planning. Like the bishops puts the stuff out and people are like, we don't know what's going on. Did you read the definitions? Did you take a minute to study it on your own, or are you just doing hearsay? Everybody would just read it.
Well, and I think people speak out of fear a lot too. Like everybody has their little habits and their hang-ups, not to mention CR, but I will later. But like everybody has their thing where they're like, oh my gosh, this is going to happen.
Let's take a moment to hear from our sponsor.
It's like we're looking at it, like, oh my gosh, like what if, and everybody plays that game. And I mean, I would just say go to the reverse. It's what if the bishop is following the Holy Spirit?
Yeah.
Instead of being like, oh, what if the bishop's going rogue? He's going to do this or he's going to do that, or the pope or whatever. It's like, could you imagine if our bishop and our pope actually was following? Like, yes, him too. But that's just something to pray with. Like, that's something that I struggle with, because sometimes I'll be like, oh, I know. No, you don't.
I heard a quote, and this is going to be our new mantra for 2024.
Give it.
How about you talk less, pray more?
There you go.
That might help solve a lot of our issues in the church. Speaking of which, you need some prayers. There is the prayer for pastoral planning that the bishop, look at that imprimatur, from July 25th. How fancy. Almost 10 years old, this lovely prayer. So we've been praying it for a while. Hopefully the Holy Spirit gets the memo. So again, pray that prayer. And again, pray our litany of welcome. This is something that came out even before that, back in 2009. And then our good friend Jessie Hubert over at Sacred Heart, she and I kind of reworked it, because honestly, after 10, 15 years, a lot has changed in language. So she and I just kind of updated it. But it's a great reminder that no matter who you are or who's in your family or in our community, everyone's welcome to come and encounter Christ. And that's just I think that's a powerful message, especially in the new year. A lot of people are wondering, where do I fit in? And you belong here. So just remember that. And then, this is exciting. I think Father Joe can speak a little bit about our car raffle. He got drawn into that.
He was drawn in. Well done.
I drove him to it. another pun there. We went on Christmas Eve in between all the masses, and had something to eat because we could. And we also took the car for a ride down to some of our parishioners who happened to win the car. And it's just kind of amazing.
Yeah, that's a very nice photo of you knocking on the door of Barbara and Al. I wonder who took that one for you.
Exactly. I feel like we should credit Father Joseph Patron, Erie, PA.
Photographer.
A side business going on.
Yeah. So they were very happy. And Barbara is as happy as she looks all the time. And she has that Christmas sweater on, which is all about like gifts. And then they won this car. And some people were like, oh, yeah, of course. They planned it that way so those parishioners would win. Remember, we used the PA Pick 4 this year. So unless they somehow bribe somebody in Harrisburg, their ticket was already purchased. I did not draw the winner. It was based on the 4-digit number.
Well, and I mean, if people were to make that accusation, it's like, how many last year the guy who won was from Indiana?
The state of Indiana.
Yeah, Indiana, Michigan. So yeah, it's not.
But there's something on the media about some dude having a fake Jeep raffle here in Erie. Our stuff is all very legit.
We will stand before God and say this was honest.
So I don't know what the Jeep thing, but anyway, our Corvette is real. They did choose the cash prize, and we're currently taking some bids and working out how to sell the blue Corvette here. And next year's Corvette color may be orange. Ooh. So we're still waiting. I think that's what it's going to be.
I think the prep alums will be proud of that one.
Hopefully, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Just a couple of things coming up. We have the 12, our men's ministry on the 15th, 6 to 8 p.m. It's just a night of prayer, reflection, discussion. Feel free to come on to that. Any guys 18 and older. Also, Lent U will be here before we know it. I just met with Dave, and he had a cool idea for something for Lent U. So if you have an idea, if you have something, feel free to run it by us. And then interested in becoming a deacon? I'm going to hand it off to the two guys who have actually done that. So
that's true. Well, we were transitional deacons, and the bishop has opened up the permanent diaconate program once again here in our diocese. We're starting to gather some information and disseminate some information out to men who might be interested. Mm-hmm. And so there's a lot of questions around that. Some questions that already popped up, there's an age range that just kind of fits. It's going to be at least a 5-year program. So really trying to get people that are, ready for that level of commitment. But also some of the questions like, do you have to be married? You don't have to be married to become a permanent deacon. But if you're planning on being married, you need to be married before you're ordained, because the church has been a universal East and West sort of thing that you're married before you're ordained.
I know our very good deacon Richard Brogdon.
Be happy to talk.
He said that at our staff meeting the other day. He said he'd be happy to talk to you to let you know if you have any questions, you can talk to him as well.
But a whole new program, so don't come with any expectations. Just come and learn if you're interested.
Absolutely.
If you feel like God is calling you to that. Then.
Last but certainly not least, we got some stuff going on all across the diocese, and then mark your calendars for the 2232 Men's Conference and 138 Women's Conference coming up in the next few months.
And I want to talk about some fan mail we got.
Yes.
We're so popular now that we are getting fan mail. So Diana, our producer, gave me a couple of things that came in the mail. There's
Thank you, Diana.
So much she said that we can't do it all, but she gave me two pieces. One, we got a Christmas tree decorated by our parishioner Michael. So Merry
He's the
Christmas.
best. Thank you, Michael.
To Michael. And then one of our listeners, Joanne, she also sent in some of that Christmas oplaki. I'm going to say it wrong, didn't I? Did I say it correctly?
The Polish Christmas thing.
I'm
Yeah,
not
the
even
Polish
gonna- I'm not even
Christmas
going to try.
wafer. So I was a little disappointed that it's not chocolate covered, but maybe next year. Oh, there's even an extra note in. It's been said that the colored pink wafer was originally to be shared with animals.
Hey, Levi.
Okay,
Shout
so
out. The St. Jude Chihuahua.
yeah. So I think you're supposed to like take a piece
Oh, boy.
and
You
break
broke-
it.
And there we go. We're breaking bread.
Yes.
Wow.
So here you can
Okay.
break a piece where all of our Polish and non-Polish alike parishioners, everybody.
Do we eat it now? What do we do?
I don't know. I just ate it. But
I have mass in a few minutes.
yeah,
so
but
I probably won't.
I had a
I'll wait
fortune
until after.
cookie. I don't know, and I'll feed some to Levi. So anyway, thanks to all of our listeners, guests, and Diana's telling us that it's time for the children's liturgy. So we're gonna
All
have to
right.
sign off. But once again, thank you, Father Joe, for taking a moment out of your busy schedule.
Yes,
And
thanks for
schooling.
letting me join in.
Absolutely.
All
Be sure to
right.
follow, subscribe, and feel free to share this podcast with any parishioners or other people who you might think might want to watch us talk about the church.
and if you want to scare people, say Merry Christmas for the next couple days.
Yes. Merry Christmas. Peace
Merry
to you.
Christmas.
Merry Christmas.